Making a video. Unfortunately, I have Lyme disease again. Pretty sure anyway. I got the fever, and everything aches, dead tired, can't barely even breathe. And so yeah, I'm waiting on the doctor, like maybe a prescription, but you know, of course, he doesn't work today. So I don't know. It's just not good. Anyway. So maybe no more videos for a while. I mean, maybe I'll be dead. No, I won't die of it. It's not as bad as the last time. It gets less bad each time. But, anyway, okay, video responses to things. Yeah, just so, you know, Anaconda Vod, the silver lining. Why don't you just call yourself the Silver Linings or something? Form a little group. And you can just rewrite the old biblical bullshit of God works in mysterious ways, you know, and just pretend that it's all okay. There's always a silver lining. Just go look for it and make it up and find it and create it. It's just such a, you know, I mean, like, again, this is just such an insult to suffering, and the bulk of it that happens where there's no silver lining. 10 years in the nursing home. I mean, he made some other video where he's making some point about facing death and how you're never going to know what was worth what until you face death, and blah. Most people don't get to face their death. Most people, by the time they die, don't even exist anymore. I mean, that's the truth, right? Most people are not in their conscious, sensible mind at the moment of their death. The vast majority. And then the bunch dies so quickly that they don't even have a chance to say, what, am I dying? Oh, I'm dead already. Fuck. So that doesn't work either. So it's just, what a crock. It's just made up shit anyway. It's just bullshit. It's not about your life. It's about the future. You think Adolf Hitler knew what his life was at the moment of his death? I don't think he did. He had no fucking way of calculating just what a preposterous asshole he was. So yeah, just bullshit. Alright, so another video, Skyzer. I found some old Skyzer video, you know, a week old or whatever. And he asked this dumbass question, you know, it's like it's just back to the same old why something instead of nothing. Like the universe gives us fuck about your stupid arbitrary standard. Well, something takes more work than nothing, somehow. By your figuring. You know. But regardless, so this version of the same bullshit is, you know, why the DNA molecule, why replication as a function, and it's as stupid as asking the question why emeralds, why rubies, why diamonds, you know, why sulfur dioxide, why any chemical compound, why magnetism. You wouldn't ask why. They're how questions. They happen because of the properties of the elementary structure of atoms, and this is what can happen under uncommon circumstances. We should be able to agree on that. Under uncommon circumstances, chemistry will mix together in a certain way, and it will be able to do a thing called evolution, because it will be able to replicate a blueprint of creation. It will be able to create a molecule that can build a molecule, a copy of itself. And you know, it'll have the weird event of having the superstructure of the other compounds needed to make that possible, because it can't do it all on its own. DNA all by itself ain't going to do anything. It's just going to sit there. I'm a DNA molecule. But it ain't going to do shit unless something zips it apart and something else has to put it back together again. And it's those elements that are, you know, part of the eccentric element. So it's like having a diamond with a ruby in the middle. You know, maybe it's possible, but it would be damn bizarre. Damn bizarre. Anyway, so fuck that stupid bullshit. Easy enough to answer question. Alright, then I guess I'll do this stupid right to die video. So this James Pope guy reposted this interview thing I did on counterculture that was pretty good. And so we got on the subject of the right to die. And I think he probably put most of the segment here, I think. But I mean, I was arguing a principle here. And people obviously don't get that, but, of course, To Be Serious and Laura Lale have to show up with their bullshit. And, the subject really was the right to die in the sense of, suicide, okay? Not the right to die. Yes, we all agree there should be a right to die for the terminally ill. Why would an atheist be opposed to that? But it's the next dimension of that argument, and the more, in my opinion, significant element of that argument is who the fuck are you to tell me that I should want to live? Well, why is that normal behavior? So explain yourself. Who are you to take authority over my life, you angel poofter believer-inners? I mean, let's get real. The average human being is an ignoramus. He doesn't know shit about shit and has delusions in their head. Why should these deluded assholes be able to tell somebody else what life means? That's the preposterous part. If I'm done at 22, it's my business. If I'm done it, and I was just taking it right down the list. Because the basic premise is, you have to have something happen for you to say, let me out. Okay, there has to be a reason why you're saying, I'd rather not. And the truth is that whatever that reason is, it's probably a valid reason. Because there's no reason to stay but addiction. And my argument was you could just take this down to its basics. The truth is a 5-year-old has fewer delusions. It has fewer lies in its head. And if a 5-year-old can make an argument, if a 5-year-old says to you, look, I was told it's evolution, okay? It's a replicating molecule. I'm just a psychology, a program-conditioned, egomaniacal piece of shit. I'm just going out there like all these other bugs, all this other stuff. I'm just saying, give me, give me, give me. If I get, I'm lucky, but most don't. Most are losers. Okay, I'm not going to be president of the United States. Don't pull that shit with me. Alright, what's the odds of that? 1 in 300 million? I mean, fuck you. That's just bullshit. 1 in, whatever, 20 million. So don't be, handing me your lies. Give me a real reason why I should exist another day. What exactly am I setting myself up for? And then they'll come up with some kind of lame argument like, well, you never know. Maybe tomorrow will be another day and you'll want to live and something specially super will happen and you'll get an ice cream cone shoved up your anus by your best friend. And the kid will say, what the fuck? You guys are perverted too, right? Oh, that's right. You're all a bunch of fucking preverts having sex with your wife while you're thinking about your neighbor's wife. I mean, you're all a bunch of frauds and phonies, you fucks. But more seriously, getting to the rudimentary psychological issue, the truth is, the longer you hang in here, the longer you set yourself up to the risk. You're setting yourself up for, something really, really bad happening and you can't get out. A car accident and it's on fire and now you're going to burn to death. You're not going to be able, there's no escape now. The only way to have that not happen is not to let it happen. And the only way not to let it happen is not to play the game. So, a lot of these risks you can't gain immunity to. So why should anybody expose themselves to these risks? All you have is some sort of presumption. You have this silly presumption. Well, of course you're breeders, women. And I'm going to put you in the silly woman category because this is just emotionalism. Oh, the poor people will kill themselves. Like there's what's the consequence of that again? How exactly is being dead a bad thing? Explain it to me, please. Gracefully dying. Let's see. How is that a bad thing? How is being dead bad? Do you have an argument of some kind? No, you don't have an argument of any kind whatsoever. You have absolutely no evidence to justify your presumption that the risk you expose yourself to is worth the fucking gain. Not any kind of rational argument. And yet you will presume, just as I said in this video, play God. You will play God with somebody else's life. How dare you? If anybody should play God with their life, it should be the individual. And they should be able to take responsibility for that. And I think the age of when somebody can take responsibility for making decisions, understanding that the decision is theirs, I don't know whether it's 5 or 7 or 8 or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I was just saying that the point is that it's your obligation to prove the little kid wrong. To prove that the kid is insane and stupid. And if you don't have the balls to do that, you have no balls to take away his rights. I mean, what, you can't beat a 5-year-old in an argument? You can't? You're afraid to? You're afraid to have the argument with the 5-year-old and explain why. If the 5-year-old I just explained to you, the one that has a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of understanding, and he knows that you guys are all liars and poofters and, you know, Pollyanna bullshitters with your fucking unicorns and your hope and your nonsense, and he nails you on all that crap. So you don't have any of that crap. No more silver lining bullshit. He can figure out that, oh yeah, right. Yeah, I go out and have a broken leg. It's going to be good for me. Yeah, let's see how many times that works out. Broken legs are always good for people. Fuck you, lunatics. I mean, really, a 5-year-old can figure out that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Oh yeah, let's all give ourselves diseases just because we'll assume it'll be good for us. Let's bring smallpox back because it's got to be goddamn good for you. It'll make a man out of you. You know, yeah, right, even 5-year-olds aren't that fucking stupid. So fuck you and this bullshit. You're the one with the lack of arguments. Let me read her stupid shit cunt bullshit argument. James Pope made a lot of more sense than amendum. Well, James Pope was just being status quo wimpity-wampity, okay? Oh yeah, I'll decide when people should have a right to die. I'll decide if they're terminally ill enough. I'll decide if they're depressed enough. I'll decide if they're competent enough. Why the fuck should this guy have that right? He doesn't have any authority. So let him get into the arena and have the argument. And I'm saying the 5-year-old's going to kick his ass. If the 5-year-old, what do you base that on, James? You think life is good. Well, what do you base that on? Majority opinion? Oh, the majority says so. Oh, gee. Lame philosophical argument, James. Anyway. Alright, 5-year-old should be allowed to commit suicide? Question mark. The impracticality of that proposal took away from a more serious discussion around the fact that individuals who are suffering, ill, elderly, and therefore find life intolerable should have the ability to exit their existence with dignity. Well, again, that wasn't the subject. The subject wasn't the terminally ill and all that shit. That was something we'd already... That was a given. Of course they should. The subject was whether people who think you people are all fucking insane and don't want the stench of you in their nostrils any longer and would like to get the fuck out of here. Yeah, whether they should have a right to say, fuck you, cunt. What were you thinking, you stupid, ignorant slut? Yeah. Anyway. So you're not even on the right subject, you stupid bitch. To say that a 5-year-old should be able to do the same thing is inhumane and absurd. So you got to figure, first you got to explain to me how it's inhumane. Because let's say you even did make a mistake. Like again, I'm saying the 5-year-old's going to have to make an argument. And you can declare him incompetent. That's your option. So he has to pass the competency test. And you're saying if he beats you in the argument, somehow it's inhumane to let him die. That you know that somehow this is a terrible loss. How is it inhumane? Inhumane to who? Who is it inhumane to? The slut whore mother who's now going to have to basically be told fuck you by her son? Yeah, okay. And absurd. Yeah, absurd in the sense that that's what your counter argument is. It's absurd. You don't have a counter argument. You have no argument defending the existence of life on any planet, let alone Earth. You couldn't defend life on Mars or Venus or the Moon or Mercury. You can't explain what function it would serve. You can't explain what product it would produce, what value it would produce. You've done nothing to make any argument here whatsoever. So it is apparently your presumption that it's always better to exist. And that no one's allowed to think it's not better to exist. Well, I'm going to argue to you that every person who's ever uttered the word, I'd rather not have been, I bet if we collected them together, they would be, you know, an incredibly fine and elegant group of human beings. And they would make you ignorant, dumb cunt sluts look like the ignorant, dumb cunt sluts that you are. Okay, we'll kick your ass in any kind. We'll even beat you in fucking foosball. Alright, yeah. So you're the one clinging to old dogma, old traditions, old notions, and that's all they are. Notions and presumptions. That's all you have. You have notions and presumptions built on tradition. And that's your fucking argument. You don't have any other argument to explain why the 5-year-old dying gracefully would be a bad thing. It would hurt his mommy's feelings? Is that why it'd be bad? Yeah, right. The thing that enslaved it to their desire. The God. It would offend the God player. So anyway, you just missed the whole fucking point of the argument, as usual. Stupid bitch. Anyway, Laura Layla just takes this opportunity to do this whole dying with dignity thing, which is an organization that doesn't have anything to do with suicide, and her final taboo bullshit, which is, again, doesn't have anything to do with suicide, so it's not really the final taboo. The real taboo is letting people die who want to die. But anyway, I don't see the point of doing this, whatever, this advertising for her own perspective thing in the middle of a video. That's kind of rude. But whatever, doesn't matter. It's a philosophical discussion. You should talk about the arguments made, not link to separate arguments. Theoretically. Anyway, I drew this morning when I was feeling like shit. And just basically it's a diagram of just going down through what we got here as what's the game really about. And so it starts with Geyser's stupid question, why the DNA? And it just comes down to the fact that why not? Okay, the same reason why there's rubies and diamonds and other things created by the environment, apparently replicating cells are possible because we are the product of one. I don't think it's very likely chemistry. I think it's maybe even astronomically unlikely chemistry, but regardless, it happened and it evolves. Okay, because of the DNA, and remember, you got to remember this strictly here, that it only works because the evolution is on the blueprint, which means the evolution can be accelerated. So a lot of change can take place. And so that's a key element of our successful evolution into this form, is that we were able to do it rapidly. Even though it took 4 billion years, which is a damn long time, it would have taken 4 trillion if the organism itself had to evolve without a blueprint. Anyway, so basically once you have this replicating thing, then you have the competition begins. And so in a competition you have weapons, you have tools. And so that's what our senses are. That's what obviously our arms, our legs, all our body parts. And so you have tools for defense and offense, right? To get the stuff you want to consume and to keep somebody from consuming you. And so these are the tools that are built into the machine. So the teeth and the digestive systems to make us more efficient, to pull the calories out of what we eat, to make us a more efficient machine at replicating. And that's all that's happening, replicating. This is the first cause. And it always comes back to that cause. So the senses, and then in turn consciousness, these are all just tools in making a machine that can navigate the environment very well. It can see where the food is, it can see where the enemies are, it can hear them, it can sense them in all these different ways, and be able to respond to those sensations through this process of integration. So what senses, say the sixth sense, which I've called intelligence or a lot of things, but let's just say it's the sense of memory. Like, so just think of memory as another sense, because memory allows you to see, the old world. It allows you to see previous events just like they were happening, just like they were in a way. I mean, obviously it's not the same 3D shake-a-vision, but you know what I'm saying. It allows us to re-experience. And so in a sense it's another set of eyeballs. It's another way of seeing the world. It's another sense perceiver. And basically that memory sense becomes your intelligence. And it does that because it gets caught up in these loops here of what's happening when you think, which is really just concepts and categories. And then you associate categories. Categories are associated. So once we did this vocabulary thing, we could associate categories, we could associate things, put them in categories, associate the categories, and then learn. So now there would be a categorical reaction. So we would put something in a category, now we would react as this is in that category. So it's in the runaway category, or the okay category, the fun category, the not fun category, that kind of thing, and our reactions would reflect that. So that's one kind of loop that the brain got caught up in. And another loop that was probably the more primitive loop is that these senses would create these feelings. These feelings would have edges to them of positive and negative, and those through associations would condition us. So that would be the other kind of learning loop, would be the learning loop of your conditioned preferences. So you acquire a taste for things because of positive experiences. You like doing something, or you dislike something because of experiential reactions of conditioned programming. So this is the more intelligent kind of programming, more about words and labels, and this is the visceral psychological programming, which is more about feelings. So really all you got is these programs, which are functions, which are reactions, which create reactions, which gets you all the way back to tools for defense and offense. So that's all that's happening here. We're just a reactive, replicating cell competing, so we got to have action. We act in the world in defensive and offensive ways to maintain our reproductivity. And we've become smarter than the mechanism in so many ways that obviously we can overstep nature's traps. Nature has these traps that create reproduction. Sexual desire is a trap, but we don't get trapped by it anymore, because we're capable of seeing the trap and stepping over the trap with a condom. So the things that nature had tied together, we have disconnected, and so that does change the explicit end product. But you have to understand the machine as we were originally built, and as originally built, without breaking the traps. Clearly, all of our behavior leads to this replicating thing, successfully replicating. Our style of genetics, not even our own personal genetics, but our family genetics, our kind genetics, and that's really the game you're in. So I did put down here positive and negative, I don't know what that word is, yeah, but feelings, that they have this positive and negative character, that's what that word is. Okay, so you feel in with positive and negative character, and that's what makes learning possible. It really does break open all of these other things, is the qualitative state, because now we're able to reward and punish proper logic and bad logic, and the whole machine just is built on this idea of whips and carrots, and but the machine is made to work consistent with reality. It's not made to make shit up, and people have perverted its purpose to do that because they want a shortcut, and that's cheating. So anyway, it wasn't just terrible, so I figured I'd throw it in there. So anyway, I think that's enough. Really am done in. So, till the next time, which might not be till tomorrow or something, or whatever. I'm gonna have to call my dentist to get fucking penicillin or something. I don't know. Just stupid. Doctors should have better plans for when they're away. I mean, waiting the whole weekend is, fuck you. I should be sick all weekend. Can't do better than that, doctor? Then, fuck you. That's bogus. Anyway, until next time.